Large numbers are numbers above 1 million that are usually represented either with the use of an exponent such as 10 to the power of 9, or by terms such as billion or thousand millions that frequently differ from system to system. The American system of numeration for denominations above 1 million was modeled on a French system, but in 1948 the French system was changed to correspond to the German and British systems. In the American system, each of the denominations above 1,000 millions, the American billion, is 1,000 times the preceding one. 1 trillion equals 1,000 billions. 1 quadrillion equals 1,000 trillions. In the British system, each of the denominations is 1 million times the preceding one. 1 trillion equals 1 million billions, with the sole exception of milliard, which is sometimes used for 1,000 millions. In recent years, British usage has reflected widespread and increasing use of the American system. Scientific notation, method of writing large or small numbers in a shorter form. For example, 4,800,000,000,000,000,000 is written in scientific notation as 4.8. 1012. Similarly, 0.00000000000000048 is written as 4.8. 1012. These numbers are referred to as 4.8 times 10 to the power of 12 and 4.8 times 10 to the power of negative 12, respectively. Scientific notation is used in fields such as engineering, chemistry, microbiology, physics, and astronomy, where very large and very small numbers are common. For small numbers, the procedure is much the same. One moves the decimal place to the right to form a number between 1 and 10. One then counts the number of places the decimal place was moved to the right. The base number 10 is raised to the power of the negative number of places the decimal was moved to the right. For example, if the number is 0.00000036, m equals 3.6, the decimal place has been moved 7 places to the right, so n equals -7. The number 0.00000036 written in scientific notation is 3.6. 10, 7. The number of non-negative values for a signed 16-bit integer. The number of non-negative values for a signed 32-bit integer. Since Unix time is measured in seconds, since January 1, 1970, it will run out at 214748364 seconds or 031407 UTC on Tuesday, 19 January 2038 on 32-bit computers running Unix, a problem known as the year 2038 problem. In mathematics, a power of 10 is any of the integer powers of the number 10. In other words, 10 multiplied by itself a certain number of times when the power is a positive integer. By definition, the number 1 is a power, the 0th power, of 10. The number Google is 10^100. The term was coined by 9-year-old Milton Serrata, nephew of American mathematician Edward Kastner. It was popularized in Kastner's 1940 book Mathematics and the Imagination, where it was used to compare and illustrate very large numbers. Googolplex, a much larger power of 10, 10 to the Google power, or 10^100, was also introduced in that book. In mathematics, titration, or hyper-4, is an operation based on iterated or repeated exponentiation. There is no standard notation for titration. It is the next hyper-operation after exponentiation, but before pentation. The word was coined by Reuben Louis Goodstein from tetra, 4, and iteration. In mathematics, pentation, or hyper-5, is the fifth hyperoperation. Tentation is defined to be repeated titration, similarly to how titration is repeated exponentiation. Exponentiation is repeated multiplication, and multiplication is repeated addition. The concept of tentation was named by English mathematician Reuben Goodstein in 1947 when he came up with a naming scheme for hyperoperations. Hexation refers to the sixth hyperoperation if addition is to be regarded as the first. It is equal to the binary function. Circulation is a hyperoperator defined as 1. In most cases, must be defined for real and v, for circulation to be of any use. The term was most likely coined by Daniel Geisler, who named this operator without any attribution. 3 hexated to 3, which is equal to G1, is massive, which I know in end of JWTPI''S video. Since G0 is 4 and not 3, Graham's number cannot be expressed efficiently in chain arrow notation or VEAF. Using Jonathan Bauer's base 3G functions, it is exactly G644. It can be also exactly expressed in the Graham array notation as Tim Chow proved that Graham's number is much larger than the Moser. 8. The proof hinges on the fact that, using Steinhaus-Moser notation, n in a k plus 2 gon is less than. He sent the proof to Susan Stepney on July 7, 1998. 9. Coincidentally, Stepney was sent a similar proof by Todd Cesar several days later. Japanese googologist Fish proved that Graham's number is less than in the fast-growing hierarchy with respect to Wiener hierarchy. 10. But nowhere compared to Fish number 1. Bird's array notation is a googological notation invented and fully developed by Chris Bird. 1. It is an extension of Jonathan Bauer's extended array notation and is akin to VEAF both in its history and its definition, while slightly differing from VEAF and making it more simple. Bird's array notation is a googological notation invented and fully developed by Chris Bird. 1. It is an extension of Jonathan Bauer's extended array notation and is akin to VEAF both in its history and its definition, while slightly differing from VEAF and making it more simple. To continue beyond nested array notation, Bird defined the special separator 1, 2 or 1, 1, 2. Placing the backslash on the base level without at least one pair of square brackets, such as 3, 3 to indicate array around backslash. There are no set of 3 rules that handles backslash arrays. Rule V1. Backslash dimensional level is either 0 or 1, with VAs. Rule V2. First entry of backslash angle brackets is not 0, with VS. Rule V3. First non-zero entry is prior to a single backslash. Rule V4. Otherwise, the limit of the notation introduced so far is the Fasserman-Shudordan-Locker gamma naught. The TREE sequence is an insanely fast-growing function TREE, and arising out of graph theory, devised by mathematical logician R.V. Friedman. 1, 2, 3. Friedman proved that the function eventually dominates all recursive functions provably total in the system. 1. Note 1. The first significantly large member of the sequence is the famous TREE3, also written as TREE3, notable because it is a number that appears in serious mathematics that is larger than Graham's number, TREE, and was strongly believed to grow at least as fast as in the fast-growing hierarchy, making it quite sizable even to a googologist. However, the estimation was based on wrong arguments by googologists and hence has never been proved. If this belief is actually correct, then the TREE function is more powerful than Kirby-Paris Hydras and Goodstein sequences, but weaker than SCG and Buchholz Hydras. For a look into one of the issues of estimating high growth rates, check this section of a page on Jason's notation. As we explained in number analysis, many Googologists roughly talks about the corresponding ordinals without proofs, and usual arguments in this community are based on wrong deductions like the fast-growing hierarchy depends only on ordinals, or the existence of a correspondence to ordinals automatically ensures the comparability to the fast-growing hierarchy. Therefore, the reader should be very careful if there are statements without peer-reviewed sources or proofs in this wiki. Since TREE and tree are quite difficult to evaluate, there are so many wrong or proofless statements about them. For example, several videos and articles explain how large TREE3 is by comparing to many other known numbers without sources. Those estimations might be fortunately true, but the truth is irrelevant to the fact that they have not been proved. For example, a Googologist stated certain estimations of lower bounds of TREE3 and tree and 13. His original claims lacked proofs, but many users of this wiki just believed that these results were verified and gave new lower bounds of TREE3 and tree and in terms of FGH with respect to a canonical choice of fundamental sequences. The subcubic graph numbers are the outputs of a fast-growing combinatorial function. 1. Devised by R.V. Friedman. One output of the sequence, SCG13, is a subject of extensive research. It is known to surpass TREE3, a number that arises from a related sequence. Friedman showed that SCG13 is larger than the halting time of any Turing machine at the blank tape that can be proved to halt in at most symbols in 1. A subcubic graph is a finite graph in which each vertex has a valence of at most 3, that is, no vertex is connected to more than 3 edges. For the sake of this article, subcubic graphs are allowed to be multi-graphs and are not required to be connected. We also define the graph-minor relation as follows: is said to be a graph-minor of V if we can derive from the following process. Start with V, remove vertices and edges, and contract edges. Note 1. An example of a graph-minor derivation is shown in the info box of this article. Given an integer k, suppose we have a sequence of subcubic graphs G1, G2, such that each graph G has at most I plus k vertices and for no I less than j is G homomorphically embeddable into Gj, that is a graph minor. This definition is analogous to the weak tree function, where the graph is a tree with at most I plus k vertices. The Robertson-Seymour theorem proves that subcubic graphs are well quasi-ordered by homomorphic embeddability, implying such a sequence cannot be infinite. So, for each value of k, there is a sequence with maximal length. We denote this maximal length using SCG, k. We require the subcubic graphs to be simple, that is, no loops or multiple edges. We get the simple subcubic graph numbers, denoted as SCG. Although this community believed that Adam P. Goucher has shown that SSCG 2 less than TREE 3 less than SSCG 3 in his article 4, it just contains a rough estimation without a proof. Moreover, the community believed that he has shown that even tree 3 for even very large n, for example n equals TREE 3, does not compete at all with SSCG 3. Later, he proved that TREE 3 less than SSCG 3 in a different blog post. 5. Goucher claimed that he had proved that. In his comment 6, and hence SCG and SSCG and have comparable growth rates. He later proved it in a later blog post. 5. Similar to the fact that there are many wrong claims on the actual results on TREE with proofs, there are many statements on SCG which are said to be proved but do not have actual proofs. See also issues on analysis of TREE. The Busy Beaver function, aka VB function or RED, S-sigma function is a distinct fast-growing function from computability theory. The classic definition, originally denoted as, is defined as the maximum number of ones that can be written in the finished tape with an end state, 2-color halting Turing machine starting from a blank tape before halting. 1, 2. These Turing machines are called Busy Beavers. and 1919th Visi Beaver is bigger than SCG 13. Loader's number is the output of Loader C, a C program by Ralph Loader 1 that came in first place for the Vignum Vecchia contest, whose objective was to write a C program in 512 characters or less that generates the largest possible output on a theoretical machine with infinite memory. 2. 3. A layman's explanation of the ideas behind Loader C can be found in the last 2 videos of this Yautja playlist on the Vignum Vecchia contest. Ralph Loader explains in the document of the program 3 that the program implements a parser, type checker, interpreter and proof search for the Euclidean calculus of constructions, COC, a particularly expressive lambda calculus, and David Mose stated 2 that the program diagonalizes over the COC, but there is no actual written proof for their statements. Its output, affectionately nicknamed Loader's number, is defined as where is an accumulation of all possible typing judgments, a statement that an expression has a sum type under some context, provable within approximately inference steps in the calculus of constructions, encoding proofs as binary numbers and expressions as power towers. The proof strength and expressiveness of the calculus of constructions makes the output of Rho very large, for sufficiently large K. Ralph Loader explains in the document of the program 3 that the program implements a parser, type checker, interpreter and proof search for the Euclidean calculus of constructions, censored a particularly expressive lambda calculus, and David Mose stated 2 that the program diagonalizes over the censored, but there is no actual written proof for their statements. Its output, affectionately nicknamed Loader's number, is defined as where is an accumulation of all possible typing judgments, a statement that an expression has a sum type under some context, provable within approximately inference steps in the calculus of constructions, encoding proofs as binary numbers and expressions as power towers. The proof strength and expressiveness of the calculus of constructions makes the output of Rho very large, for sufficiently large K. David Mose has stated that the behavior can be simulated to show that it is larger than where is titration and that would be much larger than. In the fast-growing hierarchy using Cantor's definition of fundamental sequences on the basis that the number of this size can be expressed by building upon the expressiveness of simple and second-order type structures by Fortune et al. 2. Although there is no accessible proof of either claims, if this is true, then is much larger than the output of Marx in C, which is upper bounded at the aforementioned. The final output of is a Loader's number, which is much larger than, but comparison to other large numbers is not easy. Note 1. Loader's function is computable, so for relatively small n, where is the Visi Beaver function. Rho n Ridenour has shown that surpasses Loader's number. 4. Contents. 1 code. 2 functions, defined in Loader C 2.1p, y, x. 2.2 z, x. 2.3 l, x. 2.4 s, v, y, c, t. 2.5 a, y, x. 2.6 d, x. 3 programs. 4 C also. 5 footnotes. 6 sources. Also, Loader's number is the largest code number. Rayo's number is one of the largest named numbers, coined in a large number battle pitting against and Rayo against Adamelga on 26 January 2007. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rayo's number is, in Rayo's own words, the smallest positive integer bigger than any finite positive integer named by an expression in the language of first-order set theory with googol symbols or less. Fish number 7, F7, is a number defined by Japanese googologist Fish in October 2013. 1, 2, 3. It is the largest of the 7 Fish numbers. It is based on an extension of Rayo's number by adding an oracle formula function, meaning that the S and VTH members of the sequence satisfy the relation to the definition of microlanguage. In Rayo's function, we have a modified version of Rayo's microlanguage. We can then define a function almost identically to Rayo's function, except that we use this modified microlanguage. VIGFOOT is a counterpart of Rayo's number, based on an extended version of a language of first-order set theory. As a result, it was considered to be among the largest named numbers and was also considered to be the biggest well-defined named number. However, VIGFOOT is actually an ill-defined number by the reason explained in a later section. It was defined in October 2014 by an author under the pen name Wajo, or Litlipeng9, and was given its name by Spius Sabian. The large number garden number, Japanese. Also abbreviated LNGN, is the abbreviated name of a large number equal to, where is the function, defined in first-order theory beyond higher-order set theory. 1, 2. The term was coined by Googology Wiki user P. But the original name of LNGN in Japanese is translated into English as, "Come on, friends, the large number garden is finally complete." Let me explain the function of this garden. The first is the determination function of the address and the floor plan. When a character string is read, it automatically determines which miniature garden address it represents and in which miniature garden the floor plan of a large number garden can be reproduced. The second is the floor plan analysis function. If you specify the address of the miniature garden and read the floor plan of the reproducible large number garden there, it will tell you the large number that the garden can produce. The third important function is the ability to generate large numbers. Once a natural number is entered, all character strings within the upper limit of the number of characters are searched, and each is read into the address and floor plan determination function, leaving only the reproducible floor plan for each miniature garden. By enumerating them and loading them into the analysis function of the floor plan, you can obtain the large numbers that they can produce, and by putting them all together, you can create new large numbers. Can we really get a large number with that? As usual, my ally is skeptical. But hey, here's the floor plan for the large number garden itself. If you load this into the analysis function, it will tell you how large numbers you can generate. How many characters does this floor plan have? What's the use of knowing such things? Those numbers larger than the IGFOOT are Sasquatch, Salad Number and Little Vigilant. Leave a like, a sub, see you all tomorrow for Infinite Ordinals, so, warning, jumpscare coming out in 3, 2, 1. Also, 5 footnotes, 6 sources. How many characters does this floor plan have? What's the use of knowing such things?